Welcome back to Momplex. Really excited about today's conversation. We are diving into one of the biggest struggles for moms, for working moms, for badass humans who are incredibly ambitious, and that is time. My guest, Jaimee Campanella, is a time strategist and productivity consultant. She's also a badass working mom, and she's here to help us take control of our time, tame the chaos, finally ditch the overwhelm, heal the burnout, and go after our soul-led life with passion, guilt-free, with so much energy and time available for us to focus on our priorities. How good does that sound? She's the creator of the Time Power program, and she's all about giving parents and entrepreneurs the tools they need to reclaim their time, live with more ease, and stop feeling like a victim. If you've ever felt like there just are not enough hours in the day, this episode is for you. Buckle up. Let's get into it because your life is about to get changed for the best. Well, welcome back, my beautiful Momplex community. As you heard in the bio, I am with just a powerhouse. And I'm so excited, Jaimee, that you are here today because not only are you a badass because like you just told me, you've got a 6-year-old, a 4-year-old who are both sick, but you're still showing up and powering through, but doing it in a way that feels good to you. And that is honestly the essence of my mission is for us to do life on our terms and to make sure that we're constantly designing a life that not only keeps us sane and supported and out of burnout, but that helps us focus and accomplish on the things that we want to focus on, which is why I'm so happy you're here because you have that magic touch to help us with our time and our productivity. So please, I introduced you a little bit, but I'd love to give you the microphone. Please introduce yourself to the Momplex community.
Yes, thank you so much for having me here. I'm so excited to be speaking to all of you. We've all been on a similar journey, experiencing burnout and imbalance in so many different ways in our lives. And that is the impetus for why I do what I do, supporting parents and entrepreneurs to realize that there is another way that we can live our lives. It doesn't have to be based on hustle culture, more and more and more, and burnout, and constantly just being on this hamster wheel of not enough or overdoing it or afraid to say no and all the things that we talk about. So as a time strategist and productivity consultant, I really want to design a life for you that's based on what you want to experience. Why most of us have started businesses or have these certain jobs or created these different environments and contexts so we could have something, right? I know when I started, I was like, when I was pregnant with my second child, I was like, I'm going to create my own business so I can work from home. It's going to be amazing. And I'm going to get to be present mom. And then, and I'm sure a lot of us relate to that. We want to be present parents. We want to be at home. And then it snowballs, whatever we started. And we realize we're not present parents anymore. We're snapping at our kids. We've gone so far from why we started what we started. And so that's been my journey of having my own ups and downs and fails, and then realizing this is where I want to help people because there's so many amazing, ambitious, successful moms out there who are just struggling with time. And I realized working with so many different people over the years, my background's in organization and productivity and systems.
Wow.
All the moms I talk to, I'm tired, I'm busy, there's not enough time. This became like the mantra I was hearing from all of these people. And I was like, there has to be another way that we're doing it. And, we all have these moments when we realize this is so not working.
Yeah.
I remember, I'm trying to remember what book it was, but I had this like epiphany moment. I was running my business, my work from home business. It was super successful. The money was great, but I was like intoxicated by the work too, because there's like this return. Making more, work harder, work more, make more money. And I was like putting one of my sons to sleep. And all I could think about was like, I wanted to get back to the office. I wanted to finish this or that. And I'm reading a book and my son's like, oh, why did that happen? And I was like, I have no freaking idea because while I am here physically present with you reading the story, I have no idea what's going on in this story. And it was like my wake up call, like, it doesn't matter if I'm physically making the time to be present with my kids. If I am not emotionally present, if I am coming in with my mind clutter, it doesn't really matter.
That's such a good thing. It actually gave me goosebumps because I bet every mom has had that moment. I've had moments where my kids have even said, Mom, I'm talking to you.
Why are you here?
Are you here? And I'm scrolling or I'm running through a to-do list in my head. I'm staring at them directly in the face and I'm literally running through exactly what I want to be working on next. Right.
Right.
And it kind of feeds into that, not only the hustle culture, but we also don't allow ourselves enough time to even appreciate the thing that we've been working so hard to accomplish. Right. So I'm actually probably living the dream life that Scotty 5 years ago was trying to manifest, and I'm here. Am I swimming in it? Am I allowing myself the time to actually enjoy it? Or am I already on to the next thing? And I think so a lot of times I get all this, I need more time. I can't focus on me till I have more time, or I'll wait till later. And it's this idea of like, well, later is right now. Right. So how can we, I guess, allow you're working with you're ambitious, you're working with these ambitious mompreneurs. I mean, think about that. There is a very unique human who can give birth to an idea, a business, and a human at the same time. And that she feeds off of that, right? Like that's literally fueling our soul. But how can we kind of reframe or rewrite, or like you were saying, how can we allow ourselves to design a day that maybe doesn't look like somebody else's day? So how do you, when this was birthing out of you, what was it that you were trying to either get away from or accomplish? You had that moment where you thought, okay, I'm not present. But then you were like, oh my gosh, I've got to help myself in this moment. What were you hoping to create?
Well, it's interesting because like I said, I've been a systems person, and I was always kind of relying on whatever glossy time management tool was out there, or trying the latest app, getting the meal kit delivered, thinking that was going to save my life. I realized I was like perpetually trying different BandAid solutions, and a lot of people around me were doing that as well. Like, oh, this is going to be the saving grace. This book about atomic habits, this is going to change my life. And then I'm laughing because on the other hand, I'm like, I don't have time to have lunch. And then I'm like, am I really going to read another book about productivity? So part of the problem is like we stay on this wheel of hustle and looking for solutions because we're so geared towards BandAid solutions rather than looking at what is the core issue here. So like books and apps and outsourcing all at the wrong time, or just trying to like, I remember this mom I was working with, she said, I think if I just got up at 4 a.m. and did my yoga practice, my gratitude journal, a cold water plunge, had a wheatgrass juice, and then my day would be great. And I'm like, I'm sorry. You want to add 10 more things to your day. You're already over the top, too busy day, and you wonder why you feel stuck and overwhelmed. And this is the problem. We keep trying to add more and more and more to fix the solution. And that's where I see these like different strategies and time management tools showing up. And so I realized no time management strategy was going to work.
Okay.
For me, for anyone, until they first change their relationship with time.
Oh my gosh. That's huge.
Yeah. Okay. So all that was BandAid. Like, yes, I could give you an assistant. I could redo this. I could make everything look beautiful. But even when I did that for all those people were like, the mom was like, I'm still really tired. I'm really busy. And I'm like, what the hell? Like we've just invested so much time and resources. And it was my own experience too. In those moments when I'm reading, I'm like, what's going on here? I'm making the money. I like my business. I like my family, but why am I tired, resentful, and all of that, So that was the epiphany. It's none of that's ever going to work for anyone unless you first change your relationship with time. So
and
what
I
does
love
that mean?
That. It is, and we are a BandAid society. It's happening especially when we have 100 quote solutions at our fingertips every single day, right? Like if you drink this, if you buy this, you walk here, every challenge that you've ever had will suddenly just melt away. And you think, oh my gosh, that was it. I only needed to buy this one thing on Instagram at 2:00 in the morning, and now all my problems will go away forever.
It's that calendar. It's that new 2025 calendar that's going to change my life. And then I look at my desk and I see like the year calendars all the other years I filled in the first 3 pages in, so it's like, again, let me buy more to solve my problem.
Gosh. So I love that. So it is going deep and below the surface, which I think a lot of people have resistance to because ironically, they don't think they have the time or energy to dig deep. But this is also how I help my clients too. I said, actually, the action step is the last thing. We got to go back. We got to go back a few steps and actually start getting underneath the hood to understand, like, why does the engine, like what, it doesn't matter what gas we're putting in if the engine keeps timing out, right? So when you say like, what does that mean? How do you change or work on your relationship with time?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you. And I also want to say, like, I want to give you something that you can chew on today, because I feel like people think, oh, the hard work, I'm not going to do it. I don't want to coach. I don't want this, or I don't have time for one more thing. Right.
Yeah.
And that's, I just said, like, that's what's overwhelming you. So we really have to start just simply looking at our limiting beliefs around time. And moms have a lot of them. And this is giving us the experience that time is controlling us versus us being in control of time. So that's like the first pivotal shift I encourage people to make. You are actually in control of your time. Believe it or not, you are. You decide, if you brush your teeth or out in the morning, you decide what you're going to do. You make choices. You might not be happy with your choices, but you are in control, unless you're literally being held under duress and like your kids locked you in the closet. You can't get out, which may be the case on rough days, but hey,
that might happen.
That may happen. However, for the most part, you are actually in control, and we don't feel that way. We do feel like time is controlling us. We don't have enough time to be with our family for self-care. We just believe that to be the case. And so I want to teach you to embrace that you can control and manage your time. And it starts with changing some of these limiting beliefs. I'm sure everyone here has heard themselves say, or someone around them say, they wish they had more time. Right. I don't have enough time in the day. I ran out of time. I'm always late. I just don't have enough time. Oh, I forgot to do that. I didn't have enough time. So these are some of these common belief statements that we just hear and say to ourselves all the time. Yeah. And what I hear in these statements is time is doing something to me. Time is against me. Time is out to get me.
I'm a victim. I'm a victim to time.
Well, exactly that. We are blaming time and we're acting like a victim of time.
Yeah.
And that is not how moms want to lead our life. We do not want to portray ourselves as victims of anything.
Yeah.
So the first thing you have to do is stop speaking like a victim. You have to stop thinking that is the belief, the way time is going to treat you in your life. That's the feeling of out of control. How can you control something? It's happening to you. Versus, wait a minute, let me shift my perspective here. I can make choices that design how I spend my time, but I'm really in control of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
really good point.
Recognizing those limiting beliefs, and I can share with you, like I said, something practical to kind of work with this on, like something you could all do today. Hearing this podcast, if you're inspired to change your relationship, the first and foremost thing you can do is change your language.
Okay.
Change the way you speak about time, how you treat time, how you spend it, because that's how you attract it. We talk about, I'm sure, money abundance and the law of attraction. If you speak well of money, handle your money well, you get more of it. Well, I believe the same to be true of time, although time to me is more valuable because we can't get it back like the money, right? You spend it, you lose it, you invest it, you get it back. But time is the one asset you're investing constantly, but you'll never get it back. So one of the most immediate changes you can make around time is changing the way you speak about it. So here's the one thing I want you to do. You have to stop yourself from saying, I don't have time.
Okay.
Just can't. You have to eliminate that phrase.
So those words are gone. Removing the dictionary of the brain.
Okay. Yeah. Because when you tell people, I don't have time to do something, you're actually failing to take responsibility for how you use your hours in the day, right? Again, time's holding me hostage. I don't have time for that. So the language we use shapes how we think, we feel, and we interact with the world. So if we could simply just stop saying, I don't have enough, I don't get out of this, what I call time scarcity. I don't have enough. It's a very powerful action. Because the more we tell people I don't have time, the more you believe it. This just kind of, again, like that's your belief of time. I just don't have enough of it.
Yeah.
Everyone walks around with that feeling.
Yeah.
Oh, there's just not enough time. I'm going to fail. I don't have enough time.
Yeah.
So taking removal, I don't have time out of your vocabulary. And then everyone always says, okay, well, what can you say instead? Or it's going to come up. So a simple way to replace this sentence in your vocabulary is simply saying no, or it's not a priority.
Yeah.
Or I would love to do that, but I'm going to need to revisit that next month.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine when someone says to you, I don't have time for that. You feel like whatever, fine, she doesn't have time. Versus, oh, you know what? That's not a priority for me this month. You're like, who is she? She knows what her priorities are. It's like a total shift in like, wow, I have respect for that person.
Yeah.
They're not, it's not just I don't have it. It's just I have time, but I'm choosing to focus on something else. Like holidays are here.
Yeah.
You know, it's just not a priority this holiday season. Or I have something else planned for this time.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with saying that, but those statements show that you're taking responsibility for your life and for your time rather than victim.
I love that. That's a big thing too of just the, gosh, even the one statement, this is not a priority for me right now, is actually taking care of so many things at once, right? Like you're honoring yourself. You're using your energy for what you choose as a priority to you, which, oh my gosh, when we are doing things that light us up, what happens? We get lit up back, right? Like it's less draining. But it is that shift from it's another person's or it's another essence problem, right? Like it's not
me, it's them.
It's not me, it's them. It's not me, it's time. It's not me, it's my kids, right?
Yep.
Like that's always been a huge thing that I'm helping moms to. I don't have time because my kids need me. I'm like, stop that. You're putting all of your problems on their shoulders and they didn't ask for that, right? Like we have to then take a step back and figure out where am I spending my time that is not, has nothing to do with my kids. Where is it taking away from me? What am I allowing to take priority over me? And that's that radical responsibility. And I love it because I think sometimes the way you're explaining it is actually a really beautiful way. And it's not shameful at all, because I think it's easy for us to fall into these traps where we just don't think we're good enough, right? So as you were saying before, so if we don't feel good enough, what do? We keep piling on. If I can just do more, if I can just, take less time for me and put more out here, then I'll just make everybody think that I'm under control and taking care of myself. When inside, I'm actually just ignoring myself the most, right? So it's beautiful ability of saying there's no shame here, but where are you allowing things to, I guess, walk all over you, right? Like where are you allowing yourself to fall lower and lower on that priority list? Mm-hmm. It helps you shift that. I love it.
And I think what's great about this simple tip is that there's a check and balance built into it, right? Mm-hmm. So, okay, let's just say like most common things parents say, I don't have time to exercise or I don't have time to play with my kids. I'm too busy, something like that, right? So if you have to replace that phrase, I don't have time with it's not a priority, well, you automatically know if you're off. Like, I don't have time to exercise or exercise is not a priority for me. Ooh. Right? Wow. You have like a gut reaction, no pun intended. You know, exercise is important for you. So, okay, I have to relook at this. Or when you hear a parent say, I don't have time to play with my kids and they have to change it to playing with my kids is not a priority. And you're like, oh, that's not right.
Yeah. That's
not in alignment with who I am. Mm-hmm. So just the simple changing of words it's a reality check. Oh, I do need to change something here. This isn't true. This is not who I am.
And that goes back with what you were saying. We're building this family. We're building this business. It came from this beautiful place of our why, right? Like I want more freedom. We were so positive. We had those priorities, right? We had priorities. And then, life happens. We put so much pressure on ourselves to get all done. If you are an entrepreneur and you're a one human show, yes, it starts to become a lot, right? So you have that, you start to have to really play with that. What is my priority? If it is my kids and my business, amazing. Own that, right? But with the way you're talking about like shifting this, it is allowing you to build the business, be the mom you want to be with those values, and take control of your time simultaneously. So you can always be tapped into, why in the world are we doing this in the first place? Because I think we lose sight of it. So if you're working with somebody and say they're a wonderful student and they do make the time to work on their thought and generate these new thoughts around their relationship with time, what would be the first next step when you're working with somebody to help them start to then weave that new relationship into their everyday life?
Mm-hmm. Well, for me, there's like some foundational pillars that I work with people on in terms of really revolutionizing their relationship with time. The first bucket is mindset, which we've started to talk about. The second is getting really clear on your dream life vision.
Love it.
What are you really looking for? What do you really want to experience? Many people don't take the time to articulate that. Mm-hmm. And then doing an audit is another important part.
Okay.
An audit, and then creating structure.
Okay.
So this is like, of all the time management tools and structures out there, you don't usually see these pillars. And I think that the fundamental to really making a full life change. And you can't do it on your own. That's why people, they go through programs and they work with coaches. We have so many blind spots. But the first mindset, you have to make these changes. Like I said, nothing else will work. I won't even take you through the next channels until I know you've got the first one down. Because if you're making it all wrong, what are we building? Yeah, exactly.
And I love that the way you're working through it, you really are going back and doing, I think people forget about the mindset. They really don't. They really do detach themselves from that inner dialogue and what an impact our own beliefs have on our results, right?
Right.
But it's the way you guide is that the structure, the actual time schedule is last. Yeah. And I think people are going here, right? They're thinking, gosh, if I get up at 4 a.m., I'm still hung up on that client of yours that wants to wake up at 4 a.m. Bless her heart. But, they're thinking, gosh, if I do this, all of this will go away and it just will keep repeating itself. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like, okay, I want my dream house. I want this beautiful house, but you never take the time to make the blueprint and you just give like your idea to the builder and you're like, you see this place and you're like, this is not at all what I wanted. But I thought you were so clear. I want a business where I can stay home with my kids. Go create it. Yeah. But we never made the structure for it. We never made the blueprint. So then we're constantly adding brick by brick to something that is not in alignment with the vision because we didn't take the time to create the vision. We didn't take the time to audit what's really on our plate. I want to have this experience, but is that realistic? Let's see. Like, what do you have in your closet? We got to put everything out on the table before we decide how we're going to organize it. It's like, I love that closet analogy because it's like, I want that beautiful Instagram closet. And you just go buy hundreds of organizers and they're so expensive and then they don't freaking fit. So annoying. You spend hundreds of dollars on these pretty, like plexiglass containers and they don't even freaking fit in your closet. You're buying more, you're adding more, you're wasting more because you didn't take the time to measure it. You didn't take the time to think, what is my blueprint? What is it that I really want? I want to work Monday through Thursday from 10 to 4. That's it. Okay, great. Let's build the blueprint. Then we start to see what fits. Yeah. So it's just, I feel like everyone does it in reverse. And that's where the disappointment and then the resentment and then blaming time. It's time's fault. This hasn't worked.
Time's fault, kids' fault, life's fault, right? Like it's all of that. And it's a lot of times people go to the action step. This is why I loathe New Year's resolutions, as a life coach and helping moms. I'm like, what makes you think that on January 1st, you're a marathon runner?
Exactly.
If on 31st, you're not a marathon runner. Doesn't mean we can't get there, but we got to put some things into place before we can just go start training. Right. And it's, and I think really the message, it's not that we can't have all the goals and the dreams that we've been wanting, but if feel like we're running out of time and we feel like we're burned out, it's not, we haven't failed. It's just saying that we don't have all the puzzle pieces. And I love that you've got the beautiful way to create a puzzle piece for someone to design a life that allows them to do everything that they want to do and feel good doing it, which I think is a beautiful thing that we're all allowed to do. One thing I do, you're the founder of Time Power. Can you talk a little bit about that and explain what that is?
Sure. Yeah. So Time Power, it's the Time Power program. Is the format to go through this transformation. And Time Power programs I have many different ones based on where you're coming in and where you want to start. You have a self-paced like online course, Time Power program. But my exclusive Time Power program is doing this work that I've just talked about, taking you through those pillars, those foundational pieces, the mindset, the vision, the audit, and creating the structure. And it's so unique because I'll just try to figure it out on my own, but it's really not possible to make some of these significant changes and to see the things that someone else can see when you're so stuck in it. Yeah. So the Time Power program is the vessel that I created to support parents, to support moms and entrepreneurs to go through these transformational shifts and to really achieve the real true life, intentional design that they want, that is really leaving them feel like time is on their side. I have all the time in the world to do everything that's important to me.
And to be able to have those words roll off like, this is a priority for me right now. This isn't a priority for me right now, with such clarity and confidence and no shame or guilt, right? Like to be able to say, it's literally written in front of me. I know this is a priority, and to be able to back that. And that to me is so empowering for women and moms, because how we do one thing is how we do everything, right? So then you have this belief that your voice is a priority, your feelings are a priority, your energy, your health, your wellness, your sleep, all of that starts to become a priority, because then you realize, if I want to build this life that I've just designed with Jaimee, then I need to show up at my best. How can I do that? That's a priority for me, right? So it just starts to ripple into all areas of our life, which I love.
Absolutely. And that's one of the beautiful things about Time Power. We're not just talking about your business. We really do a deep dive of your whole entire life. We're taking a comprehensive look at everything, because let's face it, as moms, you can't separate the two. When my kid is sick, I don't go to work. When I don't feel good, this is how it affects my work. Kids are my priority. So it is all one. You can't just say, let's just look at your business. That doesn't work that way. And I think that that's the gap, is trying to deal with things in isolation and silos rather than looking at your whole person. Yeah. What do I want to experience? What do I want to be present for? And let's build that dream life.
Yeah. And the thing that I love it so much, the thing that, that the mindset that we keep talking about, it's a lot simpler, I think, sometimes than people they believe that it is. And one of the greatest things I found when I started noticing, not even changing, but just noticing how I was talking to myself and noticing that how I felt with each phrase that was pumping through my head, right? And how that would affect my next action step, and just having that awareness, I actually started to get more energy. It was incredible. And so then I actually had more energy to then focus on new thoughts, right? So I think sometimes people can I don't even have time for that. It's like, but it's really incredible how your own, because positive thoughts release dopamine and serotonin, and they don't, whereas negative thoughts release cortisol, right? So you're actually putting yourself into a different place physically, which will give you more energy. So I love that that's where you begin, because I do believe there are a lot of coaches out there. There's a lot of systems out there that are selling the last step. And then people feel like they're failures, or that there's something, it's not, I guess I can't change. I guess I can't have everything that I want, because the magic 1,000 page, it's going to change your life guaranteed calendar didn't do that for me. And I love that you're actually including that's actually the last thing. It's really paying attention to how you're thinking. And our thoughts are so powerful. They truly generate our life and our energy. So what, with everything that you've created, how does this help you? Are you working one-on-one? Or are you working in groups? Because it's got to be so unique and personal when you're helping someone design their day, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So my work is one-on-one. So like I said, Time Power, I have a do-it-yourself online course version, which is...
I recommend nobody do that. Go with Jaimee.
Just saying, for those people who want a little mindset work and exercises. Okay. Yeah. But the Time Power exclusive program is absolutely live one-on-one with me. Okay. You can't do that kind of work in a group. Is your will updated? Do you have a staff at your work? I'm talking about every single thing in your life that's churning in your mind on some level, we put on the table. Everything from your household. Oh, I have to change the the air dryer, ducks, all the things that like take time and wear you down to how am I excelling to write my next book? What is my passion in my work? So it really is customized one-on-one. I take you through lots of different exercises to kind of unearth everything that you're holding in your poor mind. Because I say that because we treat our brains like storage centers, but they were never intended for that purpose. They are processing centers. We process information. We make decisions. But the more we hold and hold and hold, we just literally can't do it. How many of us have said, like, I have decision fatigue? Well, it's because you're holding too much. Your brain actually cannot help you process and make a decision because you're holding on to too much.
Yeah.
So the Time Power program is very powerful and customized and one-on-one to unearth all of that. So yes, one-on-one work is the way to do it, to have optimal results.
That's amazing. It really is just like a custom, unique approach, which is such a relief, right? Because it still allows everybody to continue being who they ultimately are, right? So it means that we don't have to force ourselves square peg, round hole it in order to pull off our dream, right? Which is so important. I think we're going to see more of that coming in like the new year. I think we're going to see more of this support of people learning how to honor their unique priorities and to do that, even if it's different from your neighbor, even if it's different from your bestie or your mom or how somebody did it before you. I think we're going to start to learn to give ourselves permission, when we're starting to feel stuck. It doesn't mean that we're failing. It means, wait a second, maybe it's time to look up and pivot a little bit. Maybe I need a few shifts to help me get and like trust our body and trust the way that we're feeling. And I do think a lot of times we try to compartmentalize, right? You think, oh, this is my business. It's not trickling into it. But even just what you said, as I'm working on my business to-do list, I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to pick up my kid at 2:30.
Right.
The dogs are
I got to go to the groceries. I got to the veterinarian.
Yeah. My husband's going to be late. So what does my evening look like? So you don't even realize what your brain is, how much is being sucked out of you. And those are all energy leaks, right? So it's a beautiful way the work you're doing is going to help moms and women plug those energy leaks, and then they can choose where they want to put their energy. If you can, it's probably hard. There's probably been so many things, but if you can think of one of the greatest benefits you've had from implementing Time Power in your own life, what would that be?
The greatest benefits. Well, it's funny. It sounds funny, and I haven't shared this one before in this way, but like, I feel so empowered with my time, or like time is so on my side that like changes don't scare me. It's funny. We're expecting snow this week. And I was like, yes, snow day. I'm going to change my schedule to be home with my kids for the day. And I was like excited and felt so in control. I have the power to do that. I want to do that. Like the thought of my kids staying home and me working was like, that's not what I want to do. And I just felt so like in control, empowered, designing what I want to experience every day. And it excites me. Change doesn't scare me like it used to. Like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I'm going to fall behind. Like, no, I'm just going to move it to next week, or just feel so free and capable of designing and redesigning, not afraid to change every day.
I love that. And it is such a good word. You're empowered. We have no control over circumstances, right?
I can't control the weather. But I can control how I react and what I decide to do with it.
That's everything, right? Like that to me is everything, right? Getting yourself in a place where you feel so grounded and supported and empowered from the inside out. It allows you to just see life and respond to it in the way that feels best to you, right? Whereas I remember when my kids would, wake up from their nap early or come home from school, it was as if my world had just ended, right? Because I had somehow felt like this is my only time to get all this stuff done because my kid's not here. So then it was their fault if I couldn't get, it just was that, winding road, that spiral. I'm the same way you are. Things happen. My son is 16. He woke up yesterday and said, I don't feel good. I said, take a day, bud. Take a day. In fact, I love that you're home. Yay. Yay for me. I got my stuff done. Did I get everything done? It's going to be fun. But I do appreciate that freedom, that empowerment. And it's when you get a taste of it, it is something that like the fact that you can create that for yourself. You're like, I want to make sure that no matter what I do, I'm always on a path to keep creating that freedom and empowerment for myself. So I love that. That's a beautiful example. How can everybody find you? How can they get in touch with you? Where can they sign on the dotted line to enroll in Time Power as of 5 minutes ago?
Yes. Please come to my website, JaimeeCampanella.com. If what I've talked about today inspires you and you want to go into this Time Power program, this exclusive one-on-one support, book a consultation call with me and let's get started.
Love it.
And if you want to hear a little bit more, I have a wonderful masterclass, free masterclass available on my website. Kind of talks a little bit more about these foundational pillars that I've been speaking about today. But I highly encourage you to check out my resources and get on a call with me and start creating your new reality. Now, there's no reason to wait.
I love it. I love it. That's a great, I'm going to put everything in the show notes, your website, your Instagram. And I saw where you linked the free masterclass. I'll put all that in the show notes so you can just scroll down and go click on all of that. But I love, and this is a great thing to leave her with as we move into the new year. It's like, why wait? Like,
exactly. The time is now.
The time is now.
Time is
no
now.
better time than now. Literally no better time than right now. And if you're listening to this episode, that's for a reason, right? This is literally for you. But you're incredible. I know you have two precious kiddos who are home a little bit under the weather. To go spend some time with them. But I really appreciate you coming on with me. I'm so excited to share this with my moms. I know you're going to change someone's life, and that's amazing. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. It's been such a pleasure.